Srivallabha Charithamrutham Chapter 6 Part 3. Om Sai Ram. Wonderful sights seen at the time of Sripada's birth. Then I, Shankar Bhatt, said, Sir, please narrate some more miracles of Sripada witnessed by you and make me blessed. Then Tirumala Das began, Shankar Bhatt, Narasavadhanalu was enraged with Bapanarayulu. He wanted to insult him somehow or other. He thought that Bapanarayulu was responsible for him to lose favor with the deity Baglamukhi. He propagated that Bapanarayulu nullified his efficiency of that mantra through some tantric application. He was much more troubled about the details relating to the incarnation of Sripada Srivallabha. He argued that the Nari books were unreliable and that it was a disrespect on the part of Bapanarayulu to offer food to a fish-eating Bengali Brahmin. He further argued that no man can be an incarnation of Purna Brahma and that a young lad like Sripada cannot be Lord Datta, who is omnipotent, omnipresent and omniscient. He mischievously misrepresented the supernormal activities of Sripada, who was uttering Pranav Om from his infancy, who was speaking about scriptures in Sanskrit even when he was rollicking in the cradle, who was exhibiting extraordinary intelligence disproportionate to his age. Narasavadhanalu spread rumors that a Brahmin Vedic scholar who died took shelter in the body of the boy and therefore was speaking in this unnatural way. He maintained that the self-manifested Datta in the Sri Kukuteshwara temple was the real benefactor and that it was wrong to treat the boy as Datta. When Sripada Srivallabha was born, a cobra with 3 hoods held its hoods as an umbrella for Sripada wherever he was kept for 18 days. He came out of the mother's womb as a dazzling illumination. Sumati Maharani fainted immediately after he was born. Auspicious musical notes from musical instruments were heard from the labor room. After some time, an invisible voice warned all the people to leave the room. 4 Vedas, 18 Puranas, and great persons arrived in the shape of brilliant lights to greet Sripada. Sacred Vedic mantras were heard outside the room. Silence spread after some time. This astonishing incident was perplexing and beyond comprehension even to Bapanarayulu. The sportive plays of Sripada's childhood. A year elapsed since the birth of Sripada Srivallabha. He started attending the conferences of scholars along with his grandfather Sri Bapanaraya, even when he was a child of few months of age. Sri Charan used to walk freely, deliver discourses on scriptures and perform wonderful miracles even when he was a boy of few months of age. The residents of Pithikapuram were thinking that a great scholar who died entered into the boy and was performing all these miracles. They were also thinking that Bapanaraya and Raja Sharma were wrongly considering him as an incarnation of Datta without giving proper medical treatment to the boy, and that was not an acceptable matter. As Pithikapuram is Padgaya Kshetra an important kshetra for the departed ancestors, and as there were some tantrics who could speak with dead souls resided in Pithikapuram, such arguments gained strength. As I came from Malayadripuram, I was washing the clothes in the houses of Sri Bapanarya and Sri Raj Sharma. The washerman who was washing the clothes in the house of Narasavadhani died due to old age. He had one son who migrated to Kokanadam called Vyasapura Agraharam. Therefore, I engaged to wash the clothes in the house of Narasavadhani. Since I was attached to the family of Sri Bapanarya from my childhood, I gradually changed to be a person having auspicious will. The flame of spiritualism glowed in me. Instead of personally washing the clothes of Sri Narasavadhani, I entrusted the work to my eldest son Ravidas. If I saw Narasavadhani on any day, I used to get disturbance in my stomach and I was not in a position even to eat food on that day. I was able to wash the clothes of only those families who had auspicious desires. The divine grace of Sripada on Tirumala Das. Ravidas is my eldest son born to my first wife. Instead of washing Narasavadhani's clothes myself, I was getting the clothes of Narasavadhani washed by Ravidas. Narasavadhani somehow came to know about it. He ordered me to wash his clothes. Orders of elders are to be complied with. I washed the clothes while recollecting the name of Sripada. Ravidas took them to the house of Narasavadhani. Strangely, Narasavadhani felt as if scorpions and poisonous centipedes crawled on his body when he wore the washed clothes. However, there was no effect on other members of his family. Narasavadhani was troubled as if his body was put on burning fire. The clothes were like apparels of fire for him. He sent word for me. He told me that I introduced some evil spirit into his clothes through witchcraft and that I would be punished for this heinous act. He lodged a complaint with the judicial officer. The judicial officer decided that I was innocent. My dear Shankara Bhatt, the plays of Sripada Srivallabha are unthinkable. After I returned home from the judicial officer, Sripada came to our house as a fresh young person of 16 years. From the time of his birth, Sripada was appearing to his devotees according to his chosen age. All of this appears quite natural to those who are acquainted with the sportive plays of Sripada. With utter excited amazement, I submitted, "Sir, you were born in a superior Brahmin caste. It is not good for you to come to the colony of a washerman." For that, Sripada replied, "Who do you think Narasavadhani is? He is a washerman carrying a load of sin on his head comparable to a washerman's bundle, whereas you are a washerman yearning for the knowledge of the Absolute. Hence, you are a superior Brahmin. Therefore, it is not unreasonable for me to come here." Then I fell on the feet of Sripada and I sobbed. Seeing me with his ambrosial looks, he lifted me from the ground with his divine hands. He kept his divine hands on my head. Then my entire past life came to my memory. The yogic forces in me reached a state of momentum. the Kundalini Shakti was activated. Sripad disappeared quietly with slow steps. Narasavadhani was growing amaranth leaves in his house. The amaranth leaves in his house were very tasty. He was not giving the vegetable to anyone even after their strong pleadings. Only when he was expecting great return from anyone, he was giving that amaranth to that person. Sripada requested his mother to cook amaranth curry. He asked her to collect the vegetable only from the house of Narasavadhani. This appeared as an impossible thing. His grandfather Bapanarayulu said, "My dear Sripada, tomorrow morning you better request Narasavadhani to give you amaranth. I will carry you to their house. If Narasavadhani will not oblige, you should not insist about that matter." Sripada agreed to that. Next morning, Bapanarayulu carried Sripada to the house of Narasavadhani. Bapanarayulu told Sripada that children should respect elders and ask for their blessings. Sripada agreed. Narasavadhani sat on the veranda of his house. He was having a shikha on his head. A barber just came there and he was trying to shave Narasavadhani. Sripada, who was sitting on the shoulders of his grandfather, saw Narasavadhani and saluted him with folded hands. Narasavadhani was taken aback at this sudden happening. Sripada's penetrating looks fell on the shikha on the head of Narasavadhani. Automatically, the shikha of Narasavadhani fell down. He was confused and did not understand how his shikha fell down. Then Sripada said to his grandfather, "Grandpa, the shikha at the top of Narasavadhani's head was very dear to him. Now it fell down on its own. It will not be nice for me to now ask him for amaranth, which is very much loved by him. Why should I subject him to more misery when he is already having intense sorrow? Let's go to our house." After that, Sripada never asked for amaranth leaves to Narasavadhani. Narasavadhani came to know the pretense behind Sripada's joining his hands in reverence to him. When Narasavadhani sat in meditation, a bright person closely resembling him came out of him. Narasavadhani asked him who he was and where he was going. That bright person said, "I am the Punya Sharir inside your body. You have recited Vedas numerous times so far. You worshipped the self-manifested Datta. When that very Datta incarnated as Sripada Srivallabha, you insulted him. If you had at least one in 10,000 degree of the love and affection you harbor for your amaranth and shikha towards Sripada, your birth would have been redeemed. Destruction of infatuation is liberation. You are shackled by the bonds of infatuation. You are going to face penury very shortly. To avert it, Sripada desired to take a donation of vegetables from you. Had you offered him amaranth as requested, the impending poverty would have been neutralized. Not only that, you would have been granted with wealth. You have spoiled such an opportunity on your own. Even then, Sripada is an ocean of mercy. He is going to conceal his present incarnation and will take another incarnation. At that time, you will take birth as a poor Brahmin. You will grow amaranth leaves in your house. Even then, at the appropriate time, I will re-enter your body. Afterwards, Sripada will visit your house and eat the curry of the amaranth cooked and served with love. He will grant you riches. I am, however, leaving you for the present. The salutation of Sripada was not intended for you. It was a command to me, an embodiment of your merit, to leave you and merge with him. As you received the salutation of Sripada, you lost the merit personified in my form residing in you. Only the personified sin remained in you. Saying so, the Punya Purush merged in Sripada. From that time onwards, the living conditions of Narasavadhani deteriorated. No one cared for his word. The luster that was in his body disappeared. Cholera spread in Pithikapuram. Many people were dying. The doctors concluded that due to the pollution of the water, bacteria was growing and it was responsible for the spread of the epidemic. Fear-stricken people prayed to Bapanarya to save them from the dreadful disease and to find out the ways prescribed by scriptures in the interest of people. They requested him to take suitable steps immediately. Sri Bapanaryulu viewed the problem with his inner sight. He found out that the disease was caused by pollution in the airy hemisphere and not due to the pollution of water. The doctors bluntly said that the statement of Bapanaryulu was against the tenets of medical science and therefore it was not acceptable. People were performing various pujas to the village goddess and offering many animal sacrifices to appease her. When an animal is killed, its life force will be forcibly released. By chanting of mantras, that life force would come under the control of the person offering the animal sacrifice. Bapanaryulu stated that many yogic practices were available for increasing the pranic force and that many sattvic ways of worship existed and sattvic modes of worship were to be adopted to propitiate the village goddess. In spite of that advice, people did not stop offering animal sacrifice. Some persons who had faith in Sripada Srivallabha and his divine actions asked Sripada about the matter. Then Sri Charan told them that he ordered the village goddess not to ask for animal sacrifice and that she went to the seaside for a bath and that by offering milk pudding, Goddess Kali would be pacified. He directed that the information should be widely made known to the people of the village and the nearby villages through a proclamation by the beat of a tom-tom on a leather drum. When asked who should be employed for the purpose, Sripada told them that Vinkaya, who was suffering from cholera, was to be selected for the job and he must be told that it was his command.
We shall continue the next episode from here. Om Sai Ram.